What's up, guys? You're here at the Dylan Shively Podcast, and I am your host, Dylan Shively. I want to talk about what's happening in all industries right now. And it's where these memes and these quotes are getting passed around about being humble, playing small, and being too big is wrong. I don't understand how wanting bigger and better for your family, for the circle of people you're around, for the people who are inspired by what you do, I don't understand how playing too big is a problem. Now, I know there's going to be, things where people say ego and being overconfident and, all of these negative things about playing big. Actually, I can tell you from personal experience right now, I know there's companies that are in my industry that use an entire marketing tactic about we don't want to be as big as them. And they think that that's a value add to the people that they are trying to serve. So for those of you who don't know, I'm in the credit management industry. So there's all types of companies who do repair, some do education. We do everything. We go from the education aspect to the repair aspect. We do everything, full-blown credit management. And as soon as you hear that, I know there's at least one of you that are thinking about how that industry and how that word makes you feel. And now that's going to be for another episode, but I just want you to know a little backstory of what we do and how we do it. So when I'm comparing things in industries, this is the industry that I'm talking about. But we are all in the people industry. So it doesn't matter what you do for work, what you do as a business owner, or whatever your title is or what you do. This applies to all industries and to all people. So let me back up a little bit. When I started, which was 7 years ago, and I was helping people with repairing their credit, all I ever wanted to do was build a big business. Because the idea was if I build a big enough business, I help more people and I create a bigger ripple effect, which can get passed on to others. So fast forward 7 years, we have 49 employees at the moment. We've helped over 11,000 people and counting. We help a couple thousand people per month. And of course, that fluctuates throughout time. Now, I share this because I don't think I'm big yet. I think that there are people that are way bigger than me in my industry. However, there are people that have a lesser count of that in my industry, and they try to say things like, oh, they're too big. Look at these conventions. Look at these events. Look at the places that they rent. They nitpick everything that we do. So if you have somebody in your industry, or even if you're an employee of a company and you're trying to achieve a big goal, you have to understand there are going to be people that are going to nitpick every fucking thing you do. And one of the best skills you can start to develop is having thick skin and getting away from the people that are just bitching and talking and nitpicking, because that stuff never goes away. So it doesn't matter if you're playing small, people will talk shit about you playing small. If you go and you play big, people are going to talk shit about how you play big. And a quote that stuck with me a few years ago was, the loudest boos come from the cheapest seats. Let me say this again. The loudest boos come from the cheapest seats. So when you make that reference to sports, the people who pay the least amount of money that are sitting the furthest away are going to complain about the view. There's always going to be something that people are complaining about. But when you're trying to do something big, you have to understand the things that you sacrifice by wanting to play big. So your privacy will get sacrificed. I know there's people who want to create social media content, or they want to do podcasts like this. They want to do something where they take a message and put it out in the world, but they also want to be private. And you have to realize that your privacy is currency in exchange for where you're trying to go if you're trying to play big. So we realized this about 2 years ago, that if we want to help more people, we have to let more people know that we exist, how we exist, and what we do, which means my privacy went away. And I'm doing this even more as a point to prove, in hope to either inspire or motivate you, to let you know if you've been thinking about doing a podcast, if you've been thinking about, I want to do more on social media and go live, I want to do something where I go big. in whatever it is that you want to do. Don't let these people who aren't doing shit stop you from trying to go big. Don't let them demotivate you from trying to go big. Again, whatever that is in what you do. So if you're trying to work on a promotion, if you're trying to work on a buyout of a company, if you want to hire more employees, if you want to expand into different states, if you just want to be better at something and it's the biggest thing you're trying to do, you will get judged for it. People will say things. Majority of it will be negative. We had an event just a couple months ago. Not even, I think it was about 2 months ago. Yeah, about 2 months ago. And even though the venue was great and we got the food catered and we had all these things going on, there was still something that was getting nitpicked by people. Now, those people are typically miserable about everything. I've never met somebody who nitpicks one thing after another. The greatest thing ever, they can find the smallest thing to nitpick. That is a trait of somebody who isn't doing anything big or meaningful in their life. So when you have somebody who's trying to give you any kind of advice, or they're trying to bring you down for doing something big, or they say things like, man, who do you think you are? You've been changing. Why do you think you need to go big? You know, you should be more humble. When those things happen, understand the person that you're getting this advice or this criticism from. I want you to think of this. And if you're bold enough to say it to them, you can say this. When somebody says, man, you need to be more humble. Like, hey, well, if I play more humble like you play humble, would I live like you? Would my life wind up turning into your life? Now, if they get offended by that, which a good chunk of them will, because it seems like a very direct confrontational question, which it is, if I take your advice, will I end up like you? If they get mad by that, that gives you the answer that you need. Because they're not happy with what they're doing. But if somebody's even giving you positive advice, again, you look at what they're doing and how they're doing it. And so you ask yourself that question. And then if you feel it's necessary to ask them, you're getting this good advice and you say, hey, if I take this advice, would I get where you are right now? And if they say, yeah, if you're lucky, if you keep up with it, if you have the discipline and the fortitude to do it, then yes. Well, now what? Now that answer is completely different and you know you should take the advice. See, the thing is, when I first came to San Antonio, which was July of 2020, this is when me and my family moved here. There were people we were associating with, and it was all these people we were meeting, and it was great. But the problem wound up being, as we started to grow, our circles changed. And every time we were growing out of the circle, which I'm the guy who wants to bring everybody up with me. But when we were growing out of the circle, what wound up happening is all this little stuff, all this little chit chat. Man, look at them. Look, oh, they're doing another event. Oh, they think they're too big. Oh, they're getting too big. Oh, they think they're too good. I don't think I'm good at all. There are people that are significantly better than me in every aspect of business. I'm learning, and I just want to get better. And I want to share what I learn over time with people in hopes that they get better. Because my mission is everybody around me that I can that is meant for the message. I hope that I can help you get better as I'm learning myself. But there is no nobility in playing small. There is no nobility in being humble or remaining humble. Because humbleness will get you underpaid. Humbleness will get you overlooked, and you'll miss opportunities because the people that you're looking to get in rooms with don't associate well with somebody who plays humble and reserved and downplays. Actually, as a matter of fact, if you look up what the definition of humble means, it is thinking less importance of yourself. So let's be careful with the words that we're using, because sometimes you can even be speaking out the word humble. And if you don't know what it really means, then the universe is listening to what you're saying about being humble and playing small. And even if that's not what you really want inside, but you're trying to say that to other people to appease them because that's what everybody around you is saying, and you don't want to be looked at different, or you don't want to rock the boat, you don't want to upset anybody because what you say is different than your current group, then you're always going to remain in that group. You're never going to grow. If you have a family, a spouse, kids, wife, husband, whoever, that you are trying to provide for, they won't appreciate you playing small and humble. If you have any form of family, even if you're single and no kids, but you have parents or a brother or sister, somebody you look after, somebody that you take care of, or somebody that you would like to take care of and help maybe financially and help them in any way that you can't do big shit by being humble. You don't get to that top. You don't get to provide. You don't get to grow by playing humble or playing small. And when you speak that into existence, those things wind up being true. So you have to be real with yourself and find out, have a real internal conversation. Do you want to be humble and play small? Now, I know when it comes to like faith-based, and I completely agree with, like you are humble before God, yes. But when we use this terminology as being humble, I don't want to buy the car, or I don't want a bigger house, or I don't want a bigger building for my business. I don't want to do more than this because I'm humble. What you're saying is that you don't think that you're significant or important enough, or have the actual ability to level yourself up to get those things. Because let's think what some of those things provide. I can tell you, when I started my business, I was looking to make more money to create more freedom for myself, so I had more time. Well, in order to do that, the business had to replace the money that I was making. But what if I said I was too humble for that? What if I said I was too humble to go bigger? What if I said I was too humble to try to be better? What if I said I was too humble that, I just want to stay in my little pocket of what I'm doing? If I did that, there wouldn't be over 11,000 people that got help with their credit. There wouldn't be over 11,000 people that, let's talk about the ripple effect for a second, that wouldn't have new cars, new homes, been able to get out of nasty apartments, away from bad landlords, get out of debt. There wouldn't be over 11,000 people that stopped arguments because they were on the verge of getting divorced because of financial irresponsibility. And now they're on the path to working on their marriage, taking care of their kids. There's stories that I have for days. I need you guys to think about the ripple effect. I hope this is connecting with what I'm saying. So because I didn't play small, and because I continue to play big, I help more families. I create more of the impact. I'm helping more people in their four walls of their home. I'm helping more people get homes, get cars, get out of debt, save money. That's huge. You have no idea what that does for other people. So whatever it is that you do, personally or professionally, playing humble, in my opinion, will mean by the time you pass, nobody's going to remember any of the funny things you said. Nobody's going to remember, maybe a moment or two. But what people really remember about you is how you left a true impact in their life, how you actually changed somebody's life. Think of the people who set records. Think of the people who changed the world. Do you think they actually played humble? Do you think they played small? Do you think they said, I don't want to get that big. I don't want to be as big as the next guy? Think of sports. You think of Michael Jordan, you think of LeBron James, right? Think of anybody, any sport, any category. Think of the Hall of Famers, think of the All-American, think of the people that everybody knows, even when you don't follow sports, but you know the name. Those guys that are so big. You think they did that by playing humble? They said every single time, I'm going to play small, there's enough for everybody here. Everybody's, there's enough baskets, for everybody to make. There's enough yards for everybody to run. Do you think they thought that? So what makes you think that you are any better than those guys or those women or anybody, whoever it is that you're thinking of? See, because again, I have an obligation to serve my family, the families around me, and make as big of an impact as possible. Those players on the field or on the court, they have an obligation to a lot of people too, not just the fans in the crowd. You have an obligation in your industry and what you do. Let's say if you're in real estate, if you're in the car industry, whatever business that you have, don't think about the transaction. Think about the ripple effect of what happens after that transaction. What problem did you really solve? And when people know what they have solves a real problem that matters for a majority of the world, they don't play small and they don't play humble because they're on a mission to help as many people as possible. So even if you're in my industry and you're listening to this, and your marketing tactic is you don't want to be as big as our company, which, by the way, we're not the biggest in the world by far. But if your marketing strategy is, I don't want to be as big as them. What you're saying is you don't want to help as many people change their lives because that's what we do. So here's some free advice for the people that talk about they don't want to be as big as me. I'll give you the information. You should want to be. You should want to be bigger than me because the mission is bigger than me and it's bigger than my company and it's bigger than you and it's bigger than your company. The competition shouldn't be between us. The competition should be who should be the best at helping solve the problem for people and how many people can you solve that problem for. I don't understand why you would want to say, I have this gift. And this gift can change the trajectory of how people live, how people take care of their families. And you want to limit how many people you can do that for? Because that's what you say when you tell people, man, I'm too humble for that. I want to play small. I want to stay local. I don't want to get too big. Here's another side of that. The people we employ, they come to work every day and they're helping changing people's lives. And that also has the ripple effect of helping them. So when we have people who send us clients over, we're helping the client, we're helping the person who sent them over, and then we're also creating steady income for the people who we employ. So this ripple effect is huge. I don't know about you guys, but for me, I just couldn't fathom the idea of limiting how many people I'd be able to help. Now, I can't help everybody in the world, and I'm not saying that either. But how could you sit there and say, I want to put a limit on how many people's lives I could change with what I'm capable of doing if I can share with them the right information? That's a fucking problem. And that's why we're doing this podcast. Because I want to find another way to connect with people so you can hear this message clearly. I don't care if you do what I do. I don't care if you don't do what I do. We have an obligation to help as many people as possible and change the world to be a force for good. You can't be a force for good on the masses by playing humble and small. If you want to be humble and small, go back to a fucking job. But if you want to create a business and you want to be a part of an industry that has this much impact, you need to change how you think. Stop playing humble. Stop playing small. Stop saying you don't want to be as big as the bigger person. You should want to be bigger than me or bigger than whoever your competition is. Because the byproduct of that is you help more people change their lives. Anything short of that, you're doing a disservice to so many people. So look, let me go ahead and wrap this up. I promised this one was going to be short. Things you can expect. We're going to have some fire episodes. We're going to have some Q&A episodes. We're going to have some interview episodes. Because I think there are more people out there that would resonate with this if they heard it in the format that they got it. So guys, this is the Dylan Shively Podcast. Thank you for listening. I'll see you on the next one.